Member,
climate deniers and creationists of various stripes.
Call Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the public who are listening will be aware that the provisions for kura horua, or partnership schools, have excited a lot of public debate and controversy, especially among the teacher unions and the parties opposite. Many submitters did oppose partnership schools when they appeared before the Select Committee, and that opposition has been widely publicised. However, many others came to support them, and that was much less widely publicised. So I think it's important to set out in this debate the views of some of those who are in favour and their reasons for proposing the concept. One such submitter, as we heard from my colleague Colin King a short time ago, was Dr. Stuart Middleton. He's currently the Director of External Relations at Manukau Institute of Technology, and I have no doubt that he's widely respected in this House and throughout the country for his educational experience and expertise. He told us, as Dr. King has reminded us, that the accommodation of partnership schools, kura horua, into the education system is appropriate at this time when focus is sharpening on responding to the issues of disengagement and low achievement. Dr. Middleton also argued that the scale of disengagement from schools and the level of educational failure in New Zealand are such that no opportunity to provide new and other pathways through education and training and subsequently into employment should be discounted, nor should the opportunity to widen the system capability to bring success to young people be lost. And Dr. Middleton concluded that it must be noted that this proposal is not as radical as it has been painted, and that there are already existing and clear similarities between the International Academy School development and the New Zealand education system in general. Mr. Speaker, importantly, we heard from Catherine Isaac, the chair of the Partnership Schools Working Group, and her colleagues, Dr. Margaret Southwick of Whitireia Polytechnic, Mike Hollings, the Chief Executive of Te Kura, and although they weren't able to be there in person, it's notable that others on that working group include Hannah O'Regan, John Taylor, Tony Falkenstein and Vicky Buck. These are a representative and experienced group of very credible people. Mr. Speaker, Ms. Isaac told us that the motivation for kura horua is to lift educational achievement amongst our most disadvantaged students, pure and simple. It is just one more tool in the educational toolbox to help those children who are not currently succeeding in regular state schools, because despite the fact that we do have a world-leading education system, public education system, we have to acknowledge that it's currently not working for all of our children. Tellingly, Ms. Isaac and her colleagues made the point that, as the chair of the Education and Science Select Committee, my good colleague Dr. Calder, reiterated earlier, that when you disaggregate the figures for all OECD countries, New Zealand European and New Zealand Asian children are doing very well, and they're up there in the top 10. In fact, New Zealand European are up in the first or second. But New Zealand Maori are down below 25, and New Zealand Pacifica can't even make it into the top 30. Now, that is a real worry, and we have to ensure that we do something about it. That's what the Partnership Schools model is all about. Greater freedom to use fresh ways of engaging with our struggling students, and much stronger accountability for ensuring that they will succeed. And that is a really important part of the equation. At the heart of the Partnership Schools model, Mr. Speaker, is a contract. The Crown will contract with an entity to provide education services in a binding, legally enforceable contract that will require the entity to meet specific and measurable performance goals, including student academic achievement, student engagement indicators, and we know that truancy is a major challenge for many of these young people, parent, whānau, community engagement indicators, mission-specific outcomes, and financial, legal and organisational performance. Applicants who wish to open a kura horua will have to provide a very high-quality proposal, and they will face a rigorous authorisation process. They will be assessed on their capacity, their educational track record, financial competence, mission and demonstrated demand for it, and how the target students will be attracted. These are good, meaty things. They need to be placed on the record because we haven't heard about them at all from members opposite. Their students must be from the government's priority learner groups, Maori, Pacifica and low socioeconomic and special needs groups. The working group members went on to assure us that partnership schools will be subject to much greater scrutiny and accountability than regular state schools and monitored quarterly, 6 monthly and annually on the agreed outcomes set out in the contract. They will be bound to the same statutory accountability procedures as state schools with regard to enrolment policy, special education needs, exemptions and expulsions, providing audited financial statements, ERO reviews and health and safety. Mr. Speaker, it's important for the public to have these assurances, and it's also important to note that the working group has closely heeded the failures and successes from around the world, and they've assured us that they've drawn on the very best. They've provided evidence to show how well they can work. Mr. Speaker, this is an option that does work when it is well implemented and appropriately delivered. I commend the working group for their input, their thorough and dedicated work. I believe that this option will be a very positive addition to our options for some of the most vulnerable learners in New Zealand. I wish those children well as they seek to raise their levels of aspiration and achievement. Why would we deny them that opportunity?
Members, order. Order. Members, this debate is concluded. The question is that the amendments recommended by the Education and Science Committee by majority be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
Tokotoro e tautoko ana.
Mana.
1 opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
Opposed.
Members, the ayes are 63, the noes are 57. The motion is agreed to. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
Tokotoro e tautoko ana.
Mana.
1 opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
1 opposed.
Members, the ayes are 63, the noes are 57. The motion is agreed to.
Education Amendment Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. Call on Government Orders of the Day numbers 3 and 4.
Consideration in committee of the debate on the performance and current operations of Crown entities, public organisations and state enterprises